Hello, this is Chuck Solomon, and welcome to the Candidate Experience Podcast, where we focus on the job candidate journey from apply to onboard and the space in between. Let's get started. You care about the candidate experience, but have you ever wondered exactly how to bring your company to that next level and offer a world-class experience to your candidates? It's not easy. Fortunately, Candidate.fyi can help. Their solution guides candidates through your hiring journey, enhancing transparency and communication at every touch point. You'll also gain valuable insights on what's working and what's not with your hiring process. Best of all, it integrates directly with your ATS. Head on over to Candidate.fyi and see how to transform your company's candidate experience today. Welcome to the Hot, Cold episode, where my special guest, Robin Kegerise with Paradox Consulting, shares her insights on improving the candidate experience. Pay close attention to the examples she shares and how hiring teams can show candidates the love during the entire hiring process. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast, please subscribe and do share with others. Want to comment, discuss, provide feedback, you can do so by sending a note to me via LinkedIn or via the contact form on our website, www.thecx.com. Thanks so much for listening, and here's my interview. Tell me just a little bit about the company that you work for, Paradox Consulting.
Yeah, so Paradox is a management consulting firm. We're based in the Triangle region of North Carolina, and really our mission is to help the Triangle thrive, and we really do that by combining heart and business. So we really look for solutions and designing programs for our clients that really balance those two pieces. So thinking about the business side, and profitability, sustainability, and then also in what that means for your people, and making sure that it's also a great place to work from an employee standpoint.
Yeah. And that's the subject of this podcast, is trying to make a good candidate experience, because good candidate experiences likely turn into good employee experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell me, about perhaps a bad candidate experience that you had yourself?
I can, and I
without naming names.
Yes, of course, of course. Yes, I was thinking about this because I figured you might ask it, and I would say, and I also think it may be something in line with a theme you've heard before. So. My story.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. So my story, I guess I'll call it, it's kind of hot, cold. And so
hot, cold.
I went and applied for a position with a growing tech company, no names to be named. And I, was really excited about this position, and moved through the initial stages of the process very quickly. So, the initial phone screen and phone interview, to an actual in-person, more casual conversation with the hiring manager, and the more interaction I would have with the company, the more interested I was in the opportunity, and what also seemed to be mutual interest, kind of like dating. And then we went to the next stage of, I went on site and had the series of interviews, with a broader group of people involved in the selection process. And again, very positive impression. It went great. It seemed to go great. And I was like, this is awesome. It sounded like they were going to follow up quickly to make a decision.
Sure.
And so still, hot, everything's like heating up. And then I sent my thank you note to the people I had interviewed with, and then nothing, like for weeks. Several weeks went by. And I was like, all right, well, what did I do? Like, was there, something that I didn't realize, something happened, just, left with a lot of questioning on like, where do things stand? What's happening next?
Right.
Followed up to like the main contact, who had first, the recruiter who had reached out with me to check in on any updates, heard nothing back. So by that time it had been a good month, I would say, month and a half, maybe, since I had been on site. And I was looking at other positions, and I had, kind of found something else that was progressing along more quickly. And so I had reached out to the hiring manager at that point just to say, I'm thank you for the opportunity, but I'm withdrawing my application at this point. It's because I've found something else. And then I got a reply that was basically, oh, we're so disappointed, to hear this. You were really the front runner for this position. And so it was just, it didn't really line up to me. It seemed very odd. I was like, well, if I was the front runner, I should have felt more like it, or at least had some kind of a communication on updated on timeline, or maybe, there's a delay in their process, something. So that was kind of my negative experience, because it was going so well. And then all of a sudden kind of dropped off, but then it sounded like they actually did want to continue the process. So it just didn't really line up in my mind.
Interesting. I mean, you got the cold shoulder. You probably actually more likely got the Arctic freeze on you.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. If if these folks were like listening to this, this podcast by chance, I mean, is there sort of any advice that you could offer them to, make that a better experience and more, positive for you?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest thing is, and especially for candidates that, that are high on your list that you're really interested in, to make sure that they know that and they sense it as well, by the interactions. So, even if there's not a lot of information to share, even if it's we're meeting two candidates that we've spoken with so far, or we're pushing out our hiring date for this position, or some kind of positive feedback too, even of, we really enjoyed meeting you, something more to keep that kind of positive communication going for the candidates that really you're intending to move along in the process.
Sure. So you said that you didn't hear from them for like over a month, and you started trying to inquire back to them, and until you ultimately pulled yourself out of the running there.
Yep.
Like, in your opinion, like, what would have like kept you interested? And even if they just sent you an email that says, sorry, no news, but you're still whatever, we still like you, how often do you think is reasonable for them or any company to sort of keep you? I mean, you were hot for a while. At least keep you. What could they have done better to have sort of kept you warm, if not still hot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Well, I think being in touch, even if they don't have a lot of information to share every couple of weeks, would have kept me engaged with that opportunity. And I probably would have been more inclined to stop looking at some other positions, because I would have known, okay, the likelihood here of getting an offer is higher, and kind of knowing where I stood in the process, having that information would have likely influenced my actions on looking for something else.
Sure. Do you have any examples of companies that, in your opinion, are doing this communication with job candidates well?
Both my prior employer, the prior consulting firm I was with, and my current
Hmm.
company do this very well. So they both happen to be consulting firms, and
Sure.
let's see. In particular, the individual who hired me in my last firm was really great at this. He actually had a saying that he used, and I didn't really know about this until I was in the firm, in the company, but he would say, like, show them the love. And so that was his
Right.
philosophy when hiring people. And so, really, what that meant was making candidates feel like they're special, like throughout the process, that they really are being recruited, and also being respectful to those candidates that aren't selected. So,
Sure.
so really thinking about that human aspect of things. So, kind of doing our best to have it be a high touch experience for the candidates. So, we would do our best to keep the front runner, candidates, the ones that we really were the most interested in, that were the most qualified and kind of fit our company culture, to keep them engaged, and to be in touch with them periodically to say, here's where we are in the process. I know it's not always possible, especially if there's a high volume of jobs that are open. But I think it's finding those opportunities to add that human touch and show the candidates the love really does go a long way. I just having gone, when I went through that hiring process myself, it really gave me a very positive impression of the company and what it would be like to work there. Just to feel like, wow, like they're really going out of their way to make this a positive experience.
Sure. Do you think that part of that had to do with the fact that these are sort of high touch consulting companies that that's really what a consulting firms that's one of the things they offer. It's not the cheap low touch, it's the high touch. white glove. That's
Yep.
probably had something to do with it.
Yes, I definitely think that has a lot to do with it. And I'll just add one other quick story. So where I'm at currently, with Paradox, Emma, when she recruited me, actually dropped off a bottle of wine and a nice little basket, basically of, you consider yourself recruited.
Right.
And just a very, again, it took time to go to do that. Right. And actually, write a handwritten note. And so I do think, maybe it's a little skewed, when you think about, the consulting industry being more high touch, altogether. But I would challenge, the notion that, other industries can't do that. And I would say to look for opportunities in the process, where you really can add more of a human element.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think also it's not just about the sort of the top candidate that gets the job. It's also about the ones that don't. I mean, there's a silver and a bronze medalist and
Yep.
all the way down there. But I accept your challenge, and, and I hope other companies can, if you're not a consulting firm and maybe you can't afford baskets or bottles of wine and
Right.
stuff, but there's got to be other things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And depending, and it might not even be, monetary, cost anything. It might be a good gesture or something, but yeah, I accept your challenge, and I hope others, others accept your challenge as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just add, in thinking about what that could look like, to think about it from the perspective of helping the candidates get a better sense of what it would be like to work there. What's that culture and what's that work environment, and what are ways that you can kind of build that in to the experience when people are going through the hiring process.
Sure, totally agree. In a perfect world, and say you had the ability to design the perfect candidate experience, what do you think that would look like? Money being no object either.
Oh, wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
that it's about making people that are being recruited really feel like they're special, and that they're not just a resume, that they're a person. Right. And so being able to have those interactions. So in reality, I don't think it is necessarily about the material things as much as it is that human touch. So I guess maybe in an ideal world, in a perfect world, there would be more time, and fewer demands on, recruiters and hiring managers, so that they can actually spend more time, with prospective candidates, and interact with them in a way that, makes them understand like they're important and get a sense of what it would be like to work at that organization. So I think it's slowing down a little bit in some cases, and having it, be a real kind of get to know you, see if we're the right fit, versus such a, an efficiency driven kind of world.
Gotcha. Awesome tips. And when when you get that unlimited budget and stuff, I want to come work with you on helping to design that too.
Right.
But I totally agree. I totally agree with you on the, if the hiring leads just had a little bit more time, and and the hiring managers as well, if they had just a little bit more time, making it more, quality over quantity. So,
yeah,
anyway,
I think if it could just feel a little less transactional and a little more interactive, relational, would kind of be the theme.
Yeah, I'm up for that challenge as well. So
I know, and then you're like, okay, now bring me back to reality. So,
but I think there are ways. I mean, I think with there's advances in technology and stuff that I think can free up a lot of hiring managers and recruiting managers' time and stuff, so they actually can then spend that time on something that's more human and more relational and less transactional, as you said. I think there's the ability to do that if people want to do that. And then the great thing about this, I think the great byproduct is if you have a great candidate journey for candidates and people love working at your company, then you kind of solve your recruiting problem too. It doesn't, I think it's a good byproduct is if you improve your employer brand, then people are going to be more attracted to you and they want to come work for you. So you sort of solve that whole, what are we at 3.6% unemployment right now? The so-called war for talent trying to, find people. People are going to stay with you longer. People are going to be attracted to you. You're not going to have to, the recruiters might not have to be as transactional,
Right.
Because they're not trying to do that. So
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, Robin, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do so?
I would say the best way is finding me on LinkedIn. Robin Kegerise, and also our website at Paradox is www.paradoxcp.com. And that's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Robin, thanks for your time today. I appreciate your insights.
Thank you, Chuck. I really enjoyed it.
Great. Have a great one.
All right. You too.
Thanks for listening to the Candidate Experience podcast. You can reach out to us via our website, thecx.xyz. That's thecx.xyz.